This is Kinder Scout, and this tent cost £20. This is going to be a different sort of video today because my friend recently uncovered some footage from our Peak District camp a year ago. Now, when we did this camp, I wasn't really into wild camping. I was just, this was us trying it out for the very first time. This was the very first time I'd ever wild camped. I remember being super nervous. We parked up at Edale, we climbed up Kinder Scout. It was a great time. We got an incredible sunset. This picture here that I use everywhere. And I can't really use the footage like I normally would for a video. So instead, I want to just really highlight this tent, which I referred to a few times in a couple of different videos. This is the Ozark Trail 2-person dome tent. It's the only tent I had until I bought the Hyena 2 a couple of months ago. And I've used this tent about 10 times, campsites across Wales, in really bad winds, and most notably for that very first wild camp up Kinder Scout.
Currently dry, but you can't really tell. It looks pretty moody.
Clouds don't look good. I'm going to find out in the next, probably the next 5 minutes to be fair. As soon as we set out,
I mean,
the heavens are going to open. It's going to pour down. So I'm going to talk about this tent. I'm going to go and set it up in the garden. I'm going to tell you what I think about it, and I'm going to intersperse that with the story of us travelling up and how it fared up the Peak District. So, 2-person dome tent, double layered to improve protection and ventilation. Fancy that. 2,000mm hydrostatic water resistant rating. So it weighs 3.5 kilograms, which is a very heavy. And it doesn't really pack away. This bag is pretty rubbish. The zip broke almost immediately. You can pick this tent up for £40 in Asda. When I got it, it was 20 quid. And then just before the summer, it also went on sale for 20 quid. So you can get it fairly cheap. And, well, let's set it up and let's talk about it. And I'll show you some footage from Kinder Scout. Oh God, there's a bit of a mess at the minute because we've just had some slabs put in. We've had a patio built. And also it's barely rained in the last month. And we have not been watering it. So everything's like nasty. But, we'll figure it out. Fiberglass poles, obviously. You're not going to be getting fancy poles with a tent that costs £20. And actually, these are still fairly intact, except for, here we go. That's, it still works. You just have to sort of bring them together, bring the rope back in the middle, and just carefully put it in. So, inner first. And there's no fabric that you slot the pole into. You put it into the, I don't know what you call these. If someone knows what these are called, please tell me. But you put it into these and then you clip it like that. Yep, there's the broken pole coming out. There is a big crack right the way down through there. Yeah. So this one's fine. The other two poles are absolutely intact. And I mean, if that's all you want, that's all you need to do. So that's taken less than 5 minutes to set up. Fairly structurally sound. I don't like the way that only one of these clips at the top. I guess you do that. It's probably a little bit more secure, but just totally freestanding. Now, as always, the issue with these inner first tents is how secure can you make the outer? And the answer is not very, because this literally just goes over like that. Doesn't even properly connect to the inner. You just basically stake those down. But you do have these 2 nice vents here at the top, and the porch is actually pretty decent. This one does have fabric that it goes through. I might stake the porch down just so we can have a proper look at the porch. So these tent pegs, bog standard. You can see they're quite bent. Cheapo tent pegs. Anything in there? Not really. Let's at least give it a little bit of shape, shall we? Oh God, those pegs just bend the moment you put your foot on them. So yeah, that'll do. That gives you the idea anyway. It does tie up there. You can zip that down. You've got this bit of sort of sheet at the bottom here. Keep stuff off the ground. And that is a pretty generous porch. Let's get inside. So again, while we're talking about features that are nice to have in a tent, you have this as well. You would think for a cheap tent it'd be no frills, but you've got a good porch, and it is big, and you've got these 2 great vents up there. You've got a pocket here, a pocket here. You've got your little hook at the top there for your lantern or whatever. That's all right, isn't it? Now I haven't actually set this tent up since getting the Hyena 2. I'd forgotten how spacious it is. This sleeps. I'm sitting up in it right now, and like, that's a lot of space. And it's totally freestanding. So you don't even need, like on a day like today when it's really hot, you don't even need the outer on. You can take the outer off. Probably wouldn't recommend it in winds, and this obviously isn't going to be waterproof, but you have that option. But it's meant to be a cheap, no frills tent. Goodbye. Yeah, so I guess that's the issue with Inner First. No, I mean, if I'd have tied it all up and I'd have staked that down, it wouldn't have been an issue. That wouldn't have happened. Oh, yeah. So you've got loads of space. So I don't know whether you want to judge this tent based on it being 40 quid, or whether you want to base it on its sale price, which is 20 quid. And you can pick this up in Asda. Walk in, grab it, out. So the biggest issues become, one, the colour, which is obviously not very natural. You've got these high-vis guy ropes, which is nice, but then you've got this sort of bouldery colour, which I guess fits in with rocks, but the orange obviously does not, makes you stick out. It is also very high, which is good, but not great. And finally, the biggest drawback, which is that it's 3.53 kilos, which is absurd for a 2-man tent like that. So let's get into performance at the Peak District, shall we? While I pack it down. So we pulled up, it must have been about 7 o'clock, gave ourselves a good 2 hours to get up Kinder Scout. Neither of us had been there before. We're both really nervous about the prospect of wild camping. And there's a really weird feeling as you pull into a place like Edale at the car park, and you've got all of these people coming down from the hills, and you're just getting there, putting your backpack on and heading up. It's so obvious what you're doing. One fellow was sat by a tree reading, and he said to us, up for a wild camp? And we're like, yeah. Sort of not sure whether we should say, no, we're just going for a walk with obvious tents on our back. My buddy was in the Fox 2, so up we went. It was quite warm, but it was all right. The weather was okay. Long way still to go. Barely started. 20 minutes in. I've just done a mad one.
Talk to us. What happened?
So, Tom said, let's climb up to that hill and see who we are. We got going, and then we realised it was a bloody massive hill. Turns out, 500 metres. So, I went up ahead with Archie because he was giving me some pull, a little bit easier. And got to the top, and we've realised that we're now pretty much at peak elevation. Literally, we're going to go up there, and that connects over to Kinder Scout. So then we can walk over to Kinder Scout without having to go down and back up again, which is what I thought we'd be doing. So it's pretty good going, all
Easy breezing for now.
Yeah.
But I'm sweaty.
Yeah, I'm sweaty. Look at this. Look.
Look at that. And Archie don't care. Archie's chill.
Dogs don't sweat, I don't think.
Dogs don't sweat. Yeah.
Oh, chill out, puppy.
So we'll head on.
We had a beautiful sunset. We found a place to pitch up. Obviously this tent's a lot bigger than the Fox 2, so we did struggle a little bit finding flat ground. But we found a spot. We pitched up. We had some food. Is your stove going red hot?
Not mine. I'm not looking.
We had an incredible sunset. Just amazing. It was dead silent. I remember how quiet it was. And we were up there, and it was like, because when you're climbing, you're out of breath, and you're like, keep going. And then you get to the top, and you set up, and you're all done, and you pause for a second, and there's just this moment of complete peace, complete calm. There were a couple of other tents that we saw as we were going up, but we heard nothing from them. Probably a few hundred meters away. So anyway, eventually we bedded down, and it was fine. This does flap about a lot in the wind, especially the outer. And of course I was terrified because I'd never gone wild camping before, so I was like, every noise I heard was like, oh, there's people around the tent, they're going to come and tell us to move. Oh. Terrifying, the prospect of having to talk to someone. And this is where we really put this tent to the test. It rained like mad in the morning. Absolutely chucked it down. Relentlessly. It didn't stop either when we got up. But miraculously, the tent didn't leak. Not the tiniest bit. There was a lot of condensation. That is an issue with this tent, which is pretty impressive. I mean, it's, what was I say, 2,000 hydrostatic head? Yeah, 2,000. And it has never leaked. Condensation is an issue. Of course it is. Cheap tents, it's always a problem. But this is a tent that cost 20 quid, that survived the Peak District in bad winds and bad rain. Oh, actually, I've done a pretty good job this time, you know. Let's see. I think the last time I packed it away, I just sort of stuffed it in. And the zip isn't broken. I said the zip was broken at the start. It's not. Yeah. Look at that. Brilliant. Good to go another day. Hello, Archie dog. Yeah, mate, you can be in the video. Okay, so 2 questions. 1, am I keeping this tent? It's hard to sort of think, what am I going to use it for? Because the Hyena 2 is essentially a better version of this tent, although it's not freestanding. It's good for campsite camping, but again, I'd probably much prefer to use the Hyena 2 because it's just made of better stuff. And I trust OEX a lot more than I trust Asda's Ozark Trail brand. Would I recommend it? Absolutely not for wild camping. However, if you just want to go to a campsite and want to pick up a cheap tent, or you're doing festivals, then 100% for that purpose, it's great. It's fantastic, it's superb. And I mean, to be fair, it packs way smaller than the Hyena 2, despite having a little bit more space. So it's a mixed bag. It's fine for its price. For wild camping, yeah, it's okay. I wouldn't recommend it because of how heavy it is, but if you don't really care about that and you just want a cheap and cheerful tent, why not? Pop into your local Asda and pick it up. They've still got it on the shelves. I walk past it. I bought this 5 years ago. I still walk past it whenever I go into Asda. So I'm going to end the video there. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.